And I think we must do that even more so today, and not have any narrow boundaries or limitations,
That's right.
but see all the people who live on this island as part of the same nation, and all making their own contribution, perhaps a different contribution.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Some contributions perhaps contrasting very vividly with others, but at the same time all part of a homogeneous nation. That's
I think most people are moving towards that today, to get rid of the idea that there's such a thing as the one authentic Irishman who conforms to a certain creed or class, that it must be wider. I mean, when you look at the Irish rugby team, for example, look at the number of political opinions there, and yet they're all shouting in Ireland, in Lansdowne Road for Ireland, you know.
In the 18th century, for a brief while, Dublin was a truly fine capital, with many magnificent buildings like Trinity College and Gandon's Custom House. This imposing edifice, formerly the seat of the old Irish Parliament, is now more prosaically the home of the Bank of Ireland. This is the House of Lords chamber of the old Irish Parliament. Yeats said, "It is one of the finest of any such buildings in all of Europe." The Irish Parliament, which met here in the 18th century, was one of the very few parliaments at that time that was convened on a regular basis. In 1782, it won a fair measure of independence from Britain, and for a very short, tragically too short period of time, it actually brought a great new vigor and life to Irish affairs. However, in the year 1800, Britain abolished this Parliament by passing an Act of Union. In any event, this was never really a very representative Parliament. It was composed entirely of the representatives of the Protestant landlord class, and that class had won power and their lands by the right of conquest. Conquest which is all too eloquently illuminated on this very beautiful tapestry here. And in the course of time, Irish nationalists turned away from nostalgia and from wondering about what Britain's intentions might be. They traveled along a different road. They sought instead to establish a separate, independent republic along the French lines, one which would owe no allegiance to either the British monarch or to Britain. And it is out of that philosophy that the party to which I belong, Fianna Fáil, was born. Fianna Fáil was founded by Eamon de Valera in 1926, and it still bears much of the imprint of its founder. The largest party in the state, it is deeply concerned with every aspect of Irish life, every endeavour of the people and everything that affects their welfare. It sees itself as unique, a part of Irish history, deriving inspiration from the achievement of independence in this part of Ireland. It has achieved progressive social and economic change, yet it cherishes traditional values and would like to see the Irish language preserved and used more widely. Of course, Fianna Fáil looks forward to completing the task of bringing about the unity and independence of the whole island of Ireland. It is sometimes forgotten that politics touches people's lives at many different points. A politician will often encounter people at those times when their fears, anxieties and concerns are uppermost. You learn all the time about people, but you also learn from people. You recognize their weaknesses and their vulnerability, but more and more you are captured by, submerged in, and taken over completely by them. I have been a member of this Irish Parliament, which meets here, for over 20 years now. And during that 20 years, I have developed a great affection for the House, for the cut and thrust of debate and for the tactics and the diplomacy, but above all for the intricacies that are involved in providing good, sound legislation. In my time here, I have heard some great fine oratory. I have seen some great parliamentary battles. Indeed, I've taken part in a number of them myself. During my time here, I have developed a great liking for people. And I think as a result of that, I've become a fairly good judge of character. Now perhaps, as some of my critics, and indeed some of my friends might say, I'm perhaps a little sentimental or even romantic in my loyalties to people. But however, as yet, the iron hasn't entered into my soul. A Sunday after Mass in Donnycarney, a North Dublin suburb. This is my home ground. I was brought up here, and I've represented these people all my political life. The career of every politician has its ups and downs, bad times as well as good, but never once did these great Dublin people fail to stand by me, through thick and thin, giving me the largest majority in Ireland time and time again. This is my mother. Things were difficult when we were young, but like most Irish mothers, she was determined that whatever else, we would all get a good education. People from other countries are often surprised that the landscape of Northern Ireland is so like that of the rest of the island. But of course it is. Ireland is unmistakably a geographical unity. This is Aon Macha, a national monument of great antiquity and importance. It was the seat of the ancient kings of Ulster, and it was also the headquarters of the warriors of the Red Branch, of whom Cuchulainn was the most renowned. This place has its own very special personal appeal for me, because over there, as part of the complex, is Haughey's Fort, and that very name reminds